Well, hey everyone, Kyle and I just wanted to get together and give you kind of an update on what we're doing as a church and what you can do to stay connected to us during this season. So this is how it's going to work. I'm just going to ask you a handful of questions that people have been wondering about and just let you address everyone directly. So how are we going to care for our covenant members during this time?
That's a good question. Let me just start by saying that what is happening is unprecedented. The schools, dentist office, cinemas, salons, museums, gyms, eat-in restaurants, everything is closed. So we as a church had to take some drastic but necessary measures. And this may go on for weeks, could go on for months. We're hoping it goes on just for another couple hours, but it's not looking like that. It's going to continue for a while. And we just want to say first that we miss you. We absolutely miss you. I mean, we are looking at empty seats and an empty auditorium and empty buildings and empty classrooms and empty parking lots. And we don't like it. We have an ache to be together again. And we're longing for that. And if you're longing for that, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. That means something is right with you. God created a soul ache for you to be in community. And online community will never substitute for that. It has to be real life community, just like this. And so God has built that ache into you to reflect the community that's built into the Trinity. So first, we just want to say that we miss you and we love you, and we are longing for when these seats are all filled again, and we can sing together, and we can sit under the preached word together, and we can be in physical community again together. But to answer your question, how are we going to care for our Covenant Church members? A couple of different ways. One, we're going to contact every member. And we're going to ask them, how can we pray for them and how can we meet their needs? And so you're listening to this if you're a member of this church. And this is mainly, other churches may listen, but this is mainly just for our Covenant Church membership here. We want to know your needs. And so if you have them, please let us know. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to step in for the elderly in our church. Now, our church is young. When you first came to our church, the average age was 26. But now we're aging. So now our average age is 30. So we're growing a little bit. Yes. But there are still elderly in our church, and we want to care for them and love them. Some of the most wonderful people on planet Earth. If we need to go to the grocery store for them or run errands for them, we want to do that. And so we will be reaching out to some of you as well in the church membership to help us care for some of our elderly members. They need to avoid certain exposures, and we want to help them to do that. On top of that, we have younger people in our church as well that deal with autoimmune diseases. Your wife has CF as well, so this is a very trying season for her, and I'm sure she's longing for a community. She's probably more in isolation than 90% of our membership, just because exposure could be very difficult for her. So we're going to contact, and we will be here if you need help.
Yeah. So how are we going to stay connected to the local body? How are you and I going to do that? How is the church leadership planning to do that?
It's not easy to stay connected during a time of social distancing. I'm an introvert. Are you an introvert as well? Yeah, I'm a high-functioning introvert. So I get energy when I'm around people, but I have to go home and be by myself and recover. My wife's an extrovert, like full blown. So I think this time is more difficult for extroverts than introverts. Like if you're an introvert at home, you're quoting the book of Esther, I was born for such a time as this. Social distancing, I am not around people, and that's a good thing. But we want to be around people no matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. So how can you stay connected to people? Let me hit this two different ways. So hit it first on the staff and elder side, and then just your average, your loving church member side. So what are we doing? We're going to do a lot more videos like this. So Matthew's job is, it's going to increase. He's going to have a lot of effort to put into all of this. We're going to do more videos like this just to keep you up with what's going on. They've even talked about Dan and Matt have even talked about doing a podcast on philosophy of worship would be one topic. So why do you choose songs that you choose? Why do you not sing certain songs? Why do you not sing songs, although they're doctrinally solid, from certain churches or ministries? We thought about doing one on expository preaching. That's big at our church, and that's one of the distinctive marks of our church, especially in this area. We thought about doing one where we're just taking questions and answering them, just so we are staying connected to you. So lots of videos like this. Another thing we thought about was equipping you with certain resources so you can call a fellow church member and talk through them. So for instance, equip you with something to read. You'll notice Matthew is consistently putting articles up online. I think he put an article up about St. Patrick's Day. Yes. C.S. Lewis has an article on the coronavirus. It's not really on the coronavirus. It's really on the atomic bomb, but it fits well with the coronavirus. So we want to put articles up like that so you can read those articles, call a church member, and talk to them about what you're reading. We also have a reading list on our website. I mean, we just have tons and tons of things on our website. Let me just, my wife is calling me while I'm doing this. Love you. She's going to see this later. Here's some of the topics, all right? You can go on our website, look at some of these recommended reading for parenting, marriage, pastoral ministry, preaching, hermeneutics, prayer, missions, women's ministry, fiction books. So there's some solid, Randy Alcorn I think has the best fiction books out there. Music and worship, music artist we recommend, gospel-centered living, some podcast, adoption fostering books, Baptist. I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on and on. Some of you are used to devouring books. Like some of you are reading 3 books a week. And I think that's excellent. This is an opportunity to even increase that to 6 books a week. Some of you are reading 1 chapter a week. Well, this is an opportunity to push that even more and go to a book a week. So we want to supply you with reading materials. And book clubs would be great at this time, reading books and talking to one another about it. Another excellent resource would be the Valley of Vision. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have that?
We don't, book? But I know Allison just added it into our Amazon cart.
Yes,
so I saw it the other day.
So there's a paperback version, but then there's also like a black leather-bound version that we have that's excellent. It's a collection of Puritan prayers. You could read that one a day. Call a friend in the church who's also reading it and talk to one another about that prayer. Just be careful. Like, I'm personally trying to not waste opportunities and use this opportunity where we have more time at home to dig deep. Some practical things is setting limits on social media. There's some apps where you can set, like, I'm only going to be on Facebook 20 minutes. I'm only going to be on Instagram for 20 minutes or whatever. You set limits. It pops up on your phone and says you have made your limit. We want to equip you with things to read, but we also want to equip you with things to watch. So this is a time for binge watching. Hulu and Netflix seasons. There's like 40 seasons of Survivor. You can work through all of those. Hallmark is even putting out all their Christmas movies. They're putting them out early. Like, we have suffered enough. We do not need that. But there's going to be plenty of opportunities to watch plenty of things. But we want to give you some things that will further your walk with Christ with watching as well. So on our recommended speakers list on our website, you can go check those out, and you can listen to Tim Keller preach through a book. You can listen to Lig Duncan preach through a book. You can listen to John MacArthur preach through a book. Actually, you probably couldn't do that. That'll take like 8 years. But you can listen to R.C. Sproul just released his entire lectures free online. So watch things that are valuable and weighty for your soul. Finally, word intake for community. I know I went off on a lot of rabbit trails there on that one. But word intake for community. You can read through an Old Testament book together. Let me give you an example. Let's say we were reading through 1 Samuel. All right, we're reading 1 chapter a day. So today's going to be 1 Samuel 1. You read it, I read it, I call you, and we talk about it. But before we call one another, we answer 4 questions about the text. First, what does this text reveal about God? So the Bible is a revelation of God. So it's revealing something about God. So what does this 1 Samuel 1 reveal about God? Second question, how does it point to Christ? So that's where you rescue biblical hermeneutics from moralism or just, avoiding good examples or imitating good examples and avoiding negative examples. So what does this text reveal about God? How does this text point me to Christ? Thirdly, what do I need to know from this text? Fourthly, what should I do as a result of this text? So these are things we're doing to try to give you some resources where you can stay connected to church people, read together, watch together, communicate with one another. On the church membership side, one of our ladies who has a low immune system because of some health issues contacted my wife this week, and she said that she pulled into the driveway of another lady in our church and called her on the phone and said, "Do you want to pray together?" So she looked out the window. They were talking to one another as they were looking through the window, and then they prayed together, and it did wonderful things for their soul. So just being creative to stay in community together, I think, is important.
Yeah. So I know a big question everyone's wondering is, are small groups meeting?
Yes. And that's huge. And what we can tell you there is ask your small group leader, because some of them have postponed. Some of them are meeting online. They're changing it where they're going online. Some of them maybe still are meeting, but meeting all the CDC regulations, under 10 people, 6 feet, distance. Are we meeting this regulation? We're breaking it?
I think we're breaking regulation.
He's a rule breaker. But yeah, just ask your small group leader and they will know. And some of them are still in decision time. I think that was the text from the call from my wife earlier, deciding about one particular small group that she was in tonight. Are they going to continue to meet? They're meeting all the regulations, but are they going to move it to online or postpone a couple of weeks? So your small group leader will know.
Yeah. So when I pulled in this morning, there were some trucks out back. What's the news on the new building?
Well, the building is progressing. Slowly, but it is progressing. We have, about a year and a half ago, we were given 5 properties and donated 5 properties. We just sold one of those properties, 30 acres in Plantation Estates, and all of that money went to the building fund. So we are likely not going to hit our goal of being in the building at the end of August, but we are definitely meeting our goals of our financial markers that we're wanting to meet. So that's a plus. But everything's going great with the building. I mean, time's the easy part. Finances is the hard part, and so we've taken care, it looks like, of most of the finances. So building debt-free isn't easy, but it's a lot more joyful than building with debt, I can tell you that. So we're just being patient with it, and when it's finished, it's finished, and we'll have a larger auditorium, more restrooms, more classrooms, more everything. We won't be crammed in here, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of finances, we're not meeting on Sundays. How are we doing financially in light of that?
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to speak with hope, and it's really important in these times not to be a pessimistic, which I lean towards, or optimistic,
which I lean toward.
Yes, but gospelistic. All right, so I just made up that word on the spot. We want to be hope-filled. The church will survive this. God's church will march on. It doesn't mean some things might have to change. Some things may have to change, but God's church will march on. Online giving becomes very important now. If you need help setting that up, Matthew can help you with that as well. A lot of our people are already set up with online giving. But what you say, will congregational giving decline, especially if this continues another 2 weeks or another 2 months? There's no doubt it will. There's no doubt that it will. But that is not my main concern. I want to make sure staff is paid. I want to make sure I take care of part-time staff, full-time staff. We pay our bills. We pay the mortgage. I want to make sure we take care of all of that. But beside all of that, I want to make sure that our people are eating and they are feeling cared for and loved while they're in isolation. So that is our main concern. Our main concern right now is not finances. Our main concern is you. Are you feeling loved? Are you feeling encouraged? How can we reach out to you? How can we care for you?
Yeah. excuse me, so since we're not meeting here on Sundays together, what can Sundays look like for those of us who are staying at home?
Yes, so that's created something unique that we haven't experienced in over 100 years with church services canceling like this. And we have technology where they did not have it 100 years ago. But let me first lay a theological foundation for how we're handling this. Matthew puts up sermons every Sunday, and especially with all of this going on, he's recording someone preaching, and we're putting that sermon up on social media, YouTube, all those outlets. I want to make sure you don't view that as a replacement for the gathered body. We are not saying, let's go to church online on Sunday. You notice Matthew does not use the language, let's worship online on Sunday. A video is not substitution for the church meeting together to sing and pray and listen to the exposited word. It's not a substitution for that. When I teach seminaries in other countries, I'll often FaceTime my wife, and so we'll talk back and forth on FaceTime. And I'm thankful for that technology and that pseudo connection. But what I want most is to get back home and to hug her. The real her, not the video of her. And so online spaces should create that for us. We should never view this as a replacement. We are not meeting as the local church body right now. Now you may be listening at home on your couch, or you may be listening on your phone, and all that's wonderful. We want to take advantage of these online spaces. But we also want to respect the language we have been using lately. We want to respect the strange providence of God and allowing us to have a period of abstinence from gathered worship. We want to respect that. So this time could be so incredibly healthy for your soul. Soul-chastening benefits that we will reap because of this. We want to come back longing to sing with God's people. We want to come back mourning the loss of sitting under the exposited word for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe even 5 or 6 weeks. Let's hope not, but we want to mourn that, and we want to appreciate being with God's people. But since we have this, and this is the only avenue we have to communicate God's word to you at this moment, what are some practical ways? So let's get into practically. Let me ask you a question. I'll just throw this on you. If our people wanted to sing on Sunday mornings, what option? And maybe they're vocally challenged. Maybe they're vocally challenged. So how can our people sing on Sunday morning at home when there's just, maybe just a husband and wife, or maybe just a husband and wife and 2 kids, or with our church, maybe a husband and wife and like 15 kids. How are they going to sing together?
Yeah. I know, of course, Allison and I, because I play an instrument, we can do that. So if there's someone in the house that plays an instrument, that would be great. I think one great thing that we have access to is YouTube. There are all of the songs that we do, almost all of them have a YouTube video with lyrics printed on it. If you could put it up on your TV or just hold it up on your phone, you sing it all together, or just print out the lyrics themselves and sing together if everyone's comfortable hearing each other. One thing that I'm currently working on is putting together a playlist on our YouTube channel of all of the songs that we do, everyone that I can find, that has a lyric video on YouTube.
So they can go to that, click the playlist, and then...
Yeah.
And it has the words on it.
It should, yeah. So
great.
I'm only going to put ones that have lyrics.
That's great.
That would be a great.
And then you have songs as well. Like you put out a couple of videos as well recently, and so you can check those out.
Yeah, and I plan to do a couple more of those over time. Just as I think of a good song, maybe for the season that we're in, to that maybe everyone can gather around and sing together.
That's good. So I'd encourage you to sing on Sunday mornings just with your family. Like develop the habit of family worship. Of course, praying together, and while you're listening to the preached word, it'd be good to just have an open Bible. Like you're going to be tempted to iron or eat food or do whatever, but like honor that time. Open a Bible and have a pen there and submit yourself to the Word of God and spend that focused time, because that's It's vital. So listen with vigor is what I'm trying to say. Someone sent my wife an article from Babylon Bee that said that churches were lending out, have you seen this? Lending out fog machines.
No,
so
I
they
haven't seen that.
lending out fog machines to homes so they could feel like they're experiencing the presence of God.
I saw the one where it said the widow put her last roll of toilet paper into the offering plate.
Yeah, whatever you have, you give. So, we don't do light shows here, and then we do not do fog machines, and so we're not trying to manipulate your emotions. We don't do that trash here, and so you're not going to have that thought at home like, well, I need my emotions manipulated before I can feel like I can really pray, or I can really listen to preaching, or I can really sing. We know that who creates the atmosphere of worship is Jesus Christ himself. By the finished work on the cross, he created the atmosphere of worship. So we don't have to create it. He created it. We're just recognizing it. So I think that'll help. This Sunday, Kent Shepard is preaching. Kent Shepard, I think, is one of the strongest theologians in our church. And I am really looking forward myself to just hearing him walk through the scripture. And I think it's going to be a blessing to you. So if you pray for Kent Shepard preaching this Sunday, Mary Shepard, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, and it goes without saying we are not meeting this
We
Sunday.
are not, yes.
So don't come
That's true.
at
Yes,
9 o'clock.
exactly, yes. No need to come this Sunday. We'll have it online.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay, well, I think that's good. You got anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. You can check out our website if you need to communicate with us through email. Our email address is there, and we want to love you. We want you to know that we are missing you, and we are longing for this, church building to be filled with you and your children again. God bless.